The Adventures of Justin and Jonas featuring Matt Wenning and Midwest Kong, available now on Spotify. Stream it up now, link in bio.
You need a way to like filter out the information because like even with the videos online now that may be like super misinformed, even just the structuring of the video makes it seem like maybe they know more than what they're saying. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like there's a way you can edit and structure things, show a
It becomes
Absolutely.
giant
word
graph that
salad.
means nothing. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to go to seminars and conferences and do things and see people in person, right? Like there's so many like people, oh, I learned this thing on YouTube. That might help you. But what if you got off your lazy ass and went and learned it in person? Because a lot of times when you go and see someone in person, like when Kong comes down to my environment, he starts asking me little stuff and I'm telling him, hey, I do this because of ABC. And he sees the process. He's like, oh shit, this guy's not edited. This is real.
Right.
Right. Even just that little time we came down to Ludus Magnus and you talked to us. I mean, like, I feel like we learned more than just a 5-minute clip, you know, I'm getting so much just from an hour.
Yeah, and that's the big problem with the industry is everybody is impatient to learn, impatient to be strong, and they have no longevity plan. And those three things are a massive problem. And you look at, and a lot of that too is also, in my opinion, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube's fault because they are promoting stupid shit and they want stupid shit promoted. They don't want high level education promoted for whatever reason. But it's really sad because I would say, and Con can answer on this too, I would say probably 65, 70% of the people that are fitness influencers don't know shit.
Yeah, I would probably bigger than that. Man, I've been around these dudes, man, and I'm gonna be honest, it's only I've been around a lot. I've been around a lot, and it's only a couple that actually work out hard for real. And I'm gonna tell you right now, being excited to work out with somebody because of what we've watched on social media and actually working out with them, and I'm like, what the is? Put it this way, it's been guys with a lucrative business in fitness, online coaching, etc. A huge following that I have left lifting with them and had to lift again. And I'm in my 40s, dude. I don't do stuff like that. So that just goes to show that and then when you watch the video, it's like, whoa, that was like some Steven Spielberg shit because that didn't happen at all. So it Instagram and all that other stuff, it makes it look really good, man. It does. And that's sad because a lot of people really think that's what it is, especially people who don't know and they want to get into it. These guys aren't doing that at all.
Yeah, it's sad too, because even if somebody's an Instagram success or a YouTube success, it doesn't necessarily mean either. And Kong's seen this a lot. I have too. Guys are using fake ass weights, man.
Oh,
like,
shit.
I mean, you guys all remember when Brad Castleberry got called out for that shit. Couldn't even bench
Yeah.
500 raw. And he was telling everybody he could do 635. And then somebody calls him out and he can't even move like 480. And you're just like, what is going on here? Like that's a big issue we have too, because a lot of those people, again, Kong knows my strength because he came and saw me for real in my environment training, and he felt the max effort shit that I was doing and knew it was legit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I get what it did was do y'all remember the Netflix series or the Netflix show Social Media or something where it talked about like how obsessed people are with social media?
Yep.
Right. So unfortunately with that is where you create the people like Liver King. And I just watched a special on him the other day on Hulu, and he actually admits all of that is true about he got obsessed with this, that, and the third. And that's why he did what he did, which he's the first person to be honest about it. Brad Castleberry, dude, first of all, you look awesome. You have a great physique. So I never knew why he would even want to portray something different because he has a great physique. So talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like to do and he's a hell of an athlete because I watched the dude jump from the ground into the back of a damn raised F-150.
Yeah.
But you want to do all this other stuff, which was weird to me because I'm like, bro, you look good. Why does it have to be all of that extra? And he's a good athlete, and he got himself timed at 250 pounds running a 40 at like 4.4. So you are a great athlete. Why you just couldn't be that?
I know.
Right.
To me, it's one of those things where it's like, I think looking in retrospect, guys like Castleberry, I'll use him as a prime example. A lot of people would like to know how to look like that with the minimal amount of training, not trying to show you can fake lift 650. Yep. If you could show, hey, I can get your pecs to grow with 250, people would jump all over that, because for most people, when they see, and Kong will tell you this, when you see a 600-pound bench or a 800-pound squat or a similar deadlift, most people look at that as an impossibility. They're never going to reach that. Everybody can look better. Everybody can put on muscle. So in my opinion, you're better off, if I were Castleberry, you'd be better off showing people the easier way to put on the muscle, because the hard way, the other guys have already accomplished that. And for most people, it scares the average person completely away.
And that's what he's doing now. I ran across his page the other day, and he got Castleberry coaching. And had he would have done that, had he would have done that in the beginning, it wouldn't have been such a far fall he took. And you know what's funny? CT told me this, man, when we first met. He said, you're going to notice the real and the fake. He said, because the fake is not a substantial time in this industry. They'll fade away quick. Bradley Castleberry was a huge draw to expos. Like, people was all over that shit. And there was no way, I didn't want to be the hater, but I'm looking at it like, there's no way. Come on. No way this dude is doing that. And he's not going to other gyms. And this is what a guy told me, Leroy Walker. He said, the thing about you is, it can never be denied, is that you travel to different gyms and hit those numbers. He said, if you pay attention, a lot of these guys won't do that. A lot of these guys who aren't establishing anything, they'll be in their realm of their own place, their comfortability. And I'm like, I wonder why. And it's funny, because a lot of those dudes are doing exactly what Castleberry did. And people used to call out Dream World. I want to touch on this real quick. If anybody ever seen that dude, Dream World, he does a crazy lift, one arm, 500-pound deadlift, this and that. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, is it real? Is it fake? And I was on the fence, because you never seen him go nowhere else. And then all of a sudden, in May of last year, CT had him come to Iron Wars. And I'm like, oh, shit, he can't fake it now. I seen him in person. I was like, oh, shit, he is lifting that shit. Like, that is not fake at all. And I seen him in person, and he is everything that was advertised. So but even that content, it's like, okay, where do we go from here? I'm not about to sit up, even in my 20s, I'm not sitting up at 405 on my stomach doing a crunch to a chest shoulder press. I'm not doing that.
Right.
Now, what's great is that he's not faking that shit, though. I watched it in live person, and I see how big he was. Yeah. So it's just like, man, I just wish it was better content. And like Matt said, the things that helps people the most isn't pushed the most. It's pushed the least.
Yeah. And I think on that similar aspect is, if you are portraying yourself on social media as a circus clown, you're not going to sustain that forever. And eventually people get tired of seeing you do stupid shit. You're better off being true, doing smart things, teaching people how to do things in a more educated fashion, because those are the things that last. And maybe at first it doesn't get the views that you want, but over the course of 10 or 15 years, it's the views that keep coming.
Right. Everybody wants to learn, man. Everybody wants to learn. They may like that stuff, but those guys also follow pages where they're trying to get some, and subscribe to pages that they're trying to get some information, man. Because I'm impressed. I'm a fan of fitness, but man, a lot of that stuff, I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't care about that.
Well, I'll tell you, on the financial side is very interesting. I won't name any names, but I went down and worked with a guy that probably has a 5 times bigger following than I do, and he's known for doing a lot of crazy shit. we sat down and talked financials, and it was interesting that because he doesn't have any education to sell, he makes literally an eighth of what I make a year.
Wow.
So now what happens when all that physicality goes away and you can't do all this crazy shit?
Yep.
And then now you have nothing to sell because you're not smart.
That's
You
right.
know?
That's 100% right. Me and Julius just talked about this. What's today? Friday. We talked about this Wednesday night. Me and Julius literally just had this conversation about what's after. We don't want to leave the industry, but what do we have to offer after? I don't have the education. So there's other things that I would like to get involved fitness-based for just being a lifter, man. Just being an older guy who can continue lifting, you know, XYZ, be that motivation to people, be that outlook for people. Me and Julius just had this conversation because, again, when somebody is done, what are you doing now? Again, I personal train. I have personal training for years. I'm very good at personal training. There's a difference of personal training. That's the only education I've ever got. There's a difference of personal training and some of the other things that can be provided. Competition lifting, I don't know anything about that. You know, I have no idea about that. So I wouldn't even pretend, just because I did 80 reps, I wouldn't even pretend that I know about competition. I can tell you the routines I did, but all my other information comes from somebody with education.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the difficult part, you know. Most of the people, I'll tell you this, I mean, when I retired from competitive lifting in 2018, my income doubled because of what I had to offer. And I wasn't focused so much on my physical ability. And even though I still train really hard, still do hard shit, the focus changed. And what you'll find is a lot of guys that don't have that backing, when their physicality drops, everything else drops with it because they don't have anything to give.
And that's sad, man, because then you start seeing people do stupid shit. Now they have to chase content. They have to chase views. This is their financial stream. It's like the fighter, man, that's 2 fights past his prime. He should lay it down. Right. You know what I mean? Now you just see these guys on the internet, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I know a person in particular. I ain't gonna say his name, but me, you know, he the one who brought me to the industry. And once he lost. Fuck it. I am going to say his name. Cali Muscle. Once he lost. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Once he lost, you know, when he had his situation and he had his heart attack, and now all this weird content, and it's sad to see because everybody is watching this clown. And for me, I know Charles.
We lost your feed. We can't hear you, Kong.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah, Kong's gone. I'll start talking. So
okay.
Yeah. So, Kong, you back? All right. So Kong will figure it out. So,
now you physically can't do it. You
there,
become.
Hey, Kong.
There we go.
About a minute ago, we lost your audio.
Oh shit!
Can you see me?
I can see you the whole time.
I was doing braille to you, man. I was like, you know.
Oh no, I thought you was rubbing hand sanitizer on my fault. But
you cut off it when Cali Muscle kind of fell off and then started doing stupid shit.
Yeah, so I know Charles. You know what I mean? Like I know Charles Kirkendall. Cali Muscle is legit a character. And Charles is a good dude. But when that camera's on, since most of his life is based on that, 90% of his life is based on that, it's hard to get him, it's hard to come back from that. And this is kind of what the Liver King was saying today on the documentary that I watched. It's hard to get him back from that. So now you see these little awkward, quote unquote, pranks. Bro, you're almost 50. Why are you running up in McDonald's doing silly pranks and all that? Like, come on, man. And it's, you know, I like prank shows and that'd be funny, but they actually have a respectful way of doing a prank, and then people are like, oh, there's the camera. That's not how he does it. You know what I mean?
Who else has an issue like that, Kong, is not an issue, but I talked to him very extensively about it off camera, was Bill Kazmaier. So Bill Kazmaier came to the gym and spent a couple of days. We shot about 6 hours of a podcast is split into 3 episodes on my YouTube channel, but he talks about being Bill Kazmaier and the Kaz. And the Kaz is a crazy fucker that everybody wants to see do crazy shit. And he goes, it took me 5 or 6 years to break away from that and become back to who I was because of the persona that I had to create in World's Strongest Man. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, and that's the truth. That's why Kong has always been my nickname. I put Midwest when I got in the industry so people can know where I'm from, because I've spent a lot of time. And people still say, hey, you out in Cali? Well, it don't say West Coast Kong, dude. So I did that just to represent where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I was called Kong for years. I used to be called Kong when I was wrestling and all that. So it's not a new guy. You know, it's not a new guy. So whether I'm weightlifting, wrestling, Brazilian, whatever it is, it's just something that attached to me. You know what I mean? So
a lot of the new timers don't know either, Kong, is that the Midwest has been the home of, in the last 50 years, the strongest guys that ever walked the USA within, if you look at percentage numbers. So Vincenello's up by you. Larry Pacifico's 2 hours south of you. Louis Simmons was in Columbus. Jim Williams was in PA, right? West PA, York, PA. Then you had Eddie Cohen from Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, the list keeps going on and on. So representing and I'm from Indiana, the Midwest, if you look at it as a whole, if you were to take all the lifters, the best lifters in the world from the USA from the last 50 years, 75% of them are from the Midwest.
Well, shit, Julius is from the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like that is absolutely true. TD, Julius, all these guys are from. That's kind of crazy to think about. I didn't even think about that.
But think about this. Let's just say this and put it out there for all the fucking busters. All of the real deals are from the Midwest, and all the bullshitters are from the coasts.
Hey, man. It hit different when you got to go outside in 30 inches of damn snow to get to your car just to get to a gym. Like, it's totally different.
A lot of it too is if you look at the Midwest, it was our fathers, our grandfathers, and great grandfathers all came from heavy machinery, heavy farming, heavy manual labor. So the next generation is brought up a little different, a little tougher, and a little more badass, you know what I mean? And then that transfers over to weights. Plus, you got to remember, think about the guys that really started the weight training craze were all from the Rust Belt, York, PA, York Barbell. You look at all these different places. Hammer Strength builds all their shit in Kentucky.
Damn.
I mean, you start looking at all this stuff and you're like, dude, the Midwest really for strength is kind of where it's at. And it's always been that way.
And that's crazy because then I just found out Rogue 2 years ago was in Columbus. I had no idea.
Stream the adventures of Justin and Jonas only on Spotify. Scroll our catalogue of guests and episodes featuring names like Rubber Big Baby Scumbag, Coach Mutt Wenning, and Black Belt in Jiu-Jitsu Super Bench Presser and Trainer Midwest Kong. You can check out our episode with coach and bodybuilder Leon Davis, where we talk interactive neuromuscular stimulation, coaching, and prep for bodybuilding. Or check out our podcast with Brad Albert, who's a powerlifter and coach who's totaled over 2,000 pounds in powerlifting meets. Better yet, go stream up our podcast with Olivia Collett, who's a female bodybuilder and on the road to getting her pro card. Follow the Instagram bent_bobbles to keep up to date on announcements and clips from the podcast. Once again, that's Bent Bobble on Instagram to keep up to date on all things Justin and Jonas. No matter what though, Justin and Jonas always have another adventure ahead of them, so stay tuned for more content.